kind of amazing because I was a college freshman, so it was a cool thing to.
For years, millions of viewers believed they knew exactly who Sara Gilbert was. On television, she was the sarcastic, intelligent, slightly rebellious teenager who always had the perfect comeback ready. As Darlene Connor on the hit sitcom Roseanne, she became one of the most recognizable faces of 1990s television. But behind the confident personality that audiences loved, Sara was quietly struggling with questions she didn't yet understand. In the early 1990s, while filming the show that made her famous, something strange began happening during her romantic scenes. She was dating her co-star Johnny Galecki, and to everyone around them, the relationship looked natural. Fans adored them together, producers liked their chemistry, and the storyline between their characters kept growing stronger. Yet every time they kissed on set, Sara felt a wave of sadness she couldn't explain. At first, she blamed stress, long work hours, or the pressure of growing up in front of millions of viewers. But the feeling kept returning, and the confusion slowly turned into fear. Deep down, she started to wonder if the problem wasn't the relationship at all. What if the problem was something much bigger, something that could change her entire life? At that time, Hollywood was a very different place, and openly discussing sexuality could easily destroy an actor's career. So Sara kept her questions hidden, even from the people closest to her. But the truth was already beginning to reshape her life in ways she never expected. And long before she became a talk show host, producer, and television veteran, Sara Gilbert was simply a young woman trying to understand herself. Long before Sara Gilbert became famous, she was already surrounded by the world of television. Born on January 29, 1975 in Santa Monica, California, she entered a family deeply connected to entertainment. Her mother, Barbara Cowan, had worked as a child actress years earlier, and the family's connections stretched even further back into television history. Sara's grandfather, Harry Crane, was a respected writer who helped shape early American sitcoms. In many ways, performing and storytelling were part of the family tradition. But Sara's childhood was not as simple as it might appear. Her family structure was complicated, with siblings from different marriages and relationships that sometimes felt confusing to a young child. Her older sister, Melissa Gilbert, had already become a major star thanks to the television series Little House on the Prairie. While Melissa enjoyed national fame, Sara watched from the background, quietly observing what life in Hollywood looked like. At first, she didn't necessarily dream of becoming an actress. Instead, she simply noticed how much attention and admiration her sister received while working on set. The lights, the cameras, the excitement surrounding television production fascinated her. Eventually, curiosity turned into motivation. If her sister could do it, maybe she could too. But Sara's mother was careful about how quickly her daughter entered the industry. Unlike many young actors who were immediately pushed toward fame, Sara's childhood remained relatively normal. She attended public school and maintained a life outside of acting. That balance would later become one of the most important foundations of her life, because when fame finally arrived, it came suddenly and changed everything. In 1988, a single audition changed the direction of Sara Gilbert's life forever. She was only 13 years old when she walked into a casting room for a brand new television show called Roseanne. At the time, no one involved could have predicted how important the series would become. The show focused on a working-class American family struggling with everyday problems, and it was far more realistic than most sitcoms of the era. When Sara read for the role of Darlene Connor, something instantly stood out. The character was sarcastic, blunt, and deeply intelligent, often delivering sharp jokes that surprised even the adults around her. Sara's natural personality matched the role almost perfectly. Her dry sense of humor and slightly awkward teenage energy gave the character a unique authenticity that producers immediately noticed. When the show premiered, audiences quickly connected with Darlene. She wasn't the typical cheerful sitcom daughter. Instead, she represented the complicated emotions of real teenagers. As the seasons continued, Sara's performance grew stronger and more confident. Critics praised her timing, her delivery, and her ability to make even simple lines feel powerful. Eventually, she earned 2 Emmy nominations, an incredible achievement for such a young actress. But while her career was accelerating, Sara remained focused on something many young stars ignored: education. In 1993, while still working on one of television's most popular shows, she enrolled at Yale University. Balancing an Ivy League education with a demanding television schedule required discipline and determination. Scenes were sometimes filmed around her classes, and production schedules adapted to support her studies. For Sara, success in Hollywood was important, but she refused to let fame replace her future. As Roseanne continued dominating television ratings throughout the early 1990s, Sara Gilbert found herself growing up under constant public attention. Fame arrived quickly, and with it came expectations that few teenagers were prepared to handle. Fans recognized her everywhere, interviews became more frequent, and the responsibility of representing a beloved character began to shape how people viewed her. Yet behind the scenes, Sara was still trying to figure out who she really was. During this time, her relationship with co-star Johnny Galecki became widely known among fans of the show. Their characters were romantically involved on screen, and the real-life relationship between the actors seemed almost like a continuation of the story. For a while, everything appeared normal. Johnny was supportive, kind, and deeply respectful of Sara's privacy. But inside, Sara continued experiencing the strange emotional confusion that had started earlier in their relationship. Every romantic moment seemed to bring unexpected sadness rather than happiness. At first, she blamed stress or exhaustion, but eventually she began confronting a possibility she had never seriously considered before. What if the feelings she had always assumed were normal weren't the full story? The realization didn't happen overnight. Instead, it arrived slowly through quiet reflection and private conversations. At that time, discussing sexuality publicly could easily damage a young actor's reputation. Hollywood was far less open than it would become years later, so Sara kept her questions hidden, even from the people closest to her. But the truth was already beginning to reshape her life in ways she never expected. Eventually, Sara Gilbert reached a moment where she could no longer ignore the truth she was beginning to understand about herself. The confusion she had experienced during her relationship with Johnny Galecki started making sense once she allowed herself to consider her sexuality more honestly. But accepting that realization was only the first step. The far more difficult question was what to do with it. In the early 1990s, openly discussing being gay in Hollywood could lead to serious professional consequences. Many actors feared that producers and audiences would stop casting them, believing their identity might conflict with certain roles. Sara was still building her career, and the risk felt enormous. When she finally shared her thoughts with Johnny, she feared the conversation might damage their friendship. Instead, his reaction surprised her. He listened calmly, supported her, and promised to keep her confidence private. That moment strengthened their bond rather than breaking it. Their romantic relationship eventually ended, but their friendship remained intact. Still, Sara kept her personal life extremely private for many years afterwards. She focused on work, education, and building a stable future while quietly exploring her identity away from public attention. During that time, she began a serious relationship with television producer Allison Adler. The partnership lasted nearly a decade and eventually led to the couple starting a family together. Yet, even as their lives became deeply connected, Sara remained hesitant to discuss her sexuality publicly. She knew the conversation would eventually happen, she just didn't know when she would be ready to face it. When Roseanne ended its original run in 1997, Sara Gilbert faced a moment many child stars struggle with: redefining her career. For nearly a decade, she had been closely associated with one character, and audiences strongly connected her identity to Darlene. Instead of rushing into similar roles, Sara carefully explored new opportunities that allowed her to grow as an actress. She appeared in independent films, television guest roles, and dramatic projects that challenged her beyond the comedic environment that had made her famous. One of her notable appearances came on the medical drama ER, where she played a quiet medical student navigating the chaos of a hospital life. Although the role never became a major storyline, it allowed her to experiment with different acting styles. Later, she made guest appearances on The Big Bang Theory as physicist Leslie Winkle, a character known for her sharp intellect and dry humor. Fans appreciated the performance, even though the role remained recurring rather than permanent. Throughout these years, Sara continued developing her voice behind the scenes as well.
she became increasingly interested in producing and shaping television projects rather than simply appearing in them. That creative curiosity would eventually lead to one of the biggest professional transitions of her life. In 2010, Sara launched a new daytime television program called The Talk. The show focused on conversations about relationships, parenting, current events, and everyday life from a female perspective. What made it unique
Was Sara's involvement, not only as a host, but also as the creator and executive producer. It represented a major shift from acting to leadership within the television industry. For years, Sara Gilbert had carefully protected her private life from public attention. Even as her talk show became increasingly popular, she rarely discussed personal matters that might invite intense media coverage. But in 2013, during a special segment on The Talk called Secret Week, she decided it was time to share something she had kept hidden for decades. The audience had no idea what she was about to reveal. Sara began telling a story about her early relationship with Johnny Galecki during the filming of Roseanne. She explained how confused she had felt during that time, and how the emotional reactions she experienced eventually helped her understand her sexuality. Then she calmly shared the truth that had once frightened her so much. She was gay. The moment was simple, honest, and deeply emotional. Instead of dramatic headlines or controversy, the audience responded with applause and support. Sara later explained that she never thought about the experience as coming out in the traditional sense. For her, it was simply about being honest about who she was. The reaction from fans and colleagues was overwhelmingly positive. Many viewers appreciated her openness and the courage it took to discuss such personal experiences on national television. In the years that followed, Sara became an important voice for conversations about identity and acceptance within the entertainment industry. But even as her personal life became more open, her professional journey was about to face one of its most difficult challenges. In 2018, Sara Gilbert helped bring one of television's most beloved sitcoms back to life. The revival of Roseanne was more than a nostalgic reunion. It was an opportunity to explore how the famous fictional family had evolved over the years. Sara played a central role not only as an actress, but also as an executive producer, shaping the creative direction of the project. When the first new episode aired, it became one of the biggest television events of the year. Over 18 million viewers tuned in, proving that audiences still care deeply about the Connor family. For a brief moment, the revival looked like an enormous success. But behind the scenes, tensions were building. The production environment was complicated, and the public spotlight on the show became increasingly intense. Then, only a few months after the revival began, a controversial tweet posted by the show's original star created a massive backlash. Within hours, network executives made the decision to cancel the series entirely. Hundreds of cast and crew members suddenly found themselves without jobs. Sara Gilbert was forced to respond publicly to the situation. She described the tweet as unacceptable and supported the network's decision to cancel the show. It was an incredibly difficult moment, especially considering how much effort she had invested in bringing the series back. Yet even as the original revival ended, another opportunity quickly appeared. After the cancellation of Roseanne, the network made a surprising decision. Instead of abandoning the entire project, they created a spin-off series titled The Connors. The new show would continue the story of the family without the original central character. Sara Gilbert once again stepped into a major leadership role as both an actress and executive producer. The transition was challenging, but the series gradually built its own identity. The show explored realistic themes such as financial struggles, parenting difficulties, and the changing dynamics of modern families. For Sara, the project represented more than just another acting role. It was an opportunity to prove that a long-running television legacy could continue evolving even after major setbacks. Over several seasons, the series developed a loyal audience and addressed topics that many viewers related to in their own lives. During this time, Sara also balanced an extremely demanding personal schedule. She was raising children, managing production responsibilities, and continuing to explore new creative opportunities within the entertainment industry. Eventually, after years of storytelling, the series reached its conclusion in 2025. The final episode marked the end of a television journey that had begun nearly 40 decades earlier. For Sara Gilbert, the moment felt surreal. One chapter of her life had officially closed. Today, Sara Gilbert stands at a completely different stage of her career than the one that first introduced her to audiences in the late 1980s. She is no longer simply the teenage actress delivering sarcastic jokes on a sitcom. Instead, she has become a producer, creator, and storyteller, shaping projects from behind the scenes. After decades in the entertainment industry, she continues exploring new ideas and collaborations. Her production company focuses on developing stories that combine humor with emotional honesty, reflecting the same qualities that originally made audiences connect with her work. Sara has also expressed interest in returning to familiar creative worlds if the right opportunity appears, including potential spin-offs connected to shows she once appeared in. But regardless of where her career moves next, her story has already left a powerful impact. From a young girl growing up in a complicated Hollywood family to a respected television creator, Sara Gilbert's journey has been filled with transformation. She faced personal confusion, public scrutiny, and professional challenges that might have ended other careers. Yet each time she adapted and continued moving forward. In many ways, the most important lesson from her story is simple. Fame can introduce you to the world, but honesty defines who you become within it. And for Sara Gilbert, the courage to live openly became the foundation for everything that followed.